Welcome to Live Well Long, where we deliver life-enhancing, empowering messages for body, mind, and spirit to those seeking to get the most out of life, who have a zest for learning and know that learning must be an ongoing activity to achieve a vibrant, thriving life. This is your host, Alexandra Van Horn. Stay tuned for another episode of Live Well Long. Hey everyone, it's Alexandra Van Horn with Live Well Long, and we have a wonderful guest here today, Carol Pilkington. And Carol works on an interesting. We're going to be talking about an interesting topic today: completing cycles of action. And I want to share a little bit about Carol. She's a transformational spiritual counselor and astrologer, specializing in anxiety, grief and loss, and depression. As a spiritual teacher and counselor, she works with high-achieving and performing men and women to process the trauma of being human that shows up as depression, anxiety, feeling disconnected, and a general state of sorrow. She's a graduate of the Sher Institute of Astrology and Metaphysics, where she was trained by a Jungian therapist, as well as ehst, better known now as the Landmark Forum. And she holds a certificate in end-of-life care from the Twilight Brigade through the Veterans Administration. And she's also an ordained non-denominational minister. So welcome, Carol. I'm excited to be doing this with you. I'm very excited to hear our conversation, be in our conversation. First of all, you're located in California? Yes,
I am. Yeah, the greater Los Angeles area. I'm in the San Fernando Valley of the Los Angeles County.
Okay. All right. Cool. How's the weather out there today?
It's pouring rain.
Oh,
We're getting a lot of rain over the past couple of weeks.
Oh, that's right. January is rainy season in California.
Well, yeah, it's been since probably early to mid-December, which has been really great because we desperately need it.
Yeah, cool. So I love when you said you wanted to share about completing cycles of action, which I just love the term, even like that's interesting. So tell me, what is a cycle of action, first of all, and how do you recognize it? What would be the way you would recognize it?
Very good question. So a cycle has a beginning, middle, and end. And, at first you would think that, oh, that sounds easy enough to recognize, right?
Mm-hmm.
So just for an example, we have 1 year. It begins in January and it ends in December.
Right.
And all the months in between is the middle.
Right.
So there's the beginning of the year, the middle of the year, and the end of the year. But the largest cycle is our life-death cycle, right? We are born, we live our lives, and then we die. The body dies. So those are two big cycles that we can think of in general.
Right.
But say we're going from point A to point B. I'm leaving my house. I'm going to the store.
Mm-hmm.
So I leave my house, and the middle part is the driving process from point A to point B. And B is when I get out of the car and I'm at the store or wherever I'm going.
Right.
That's the end of that cycle.
Right.
And then there are cycles within cycles. So for instance, I'm going in my car. I stop at a light. That's one cycle.
Mm-hmm.
And the light turns green. I continue on my way. Oh, there's another light. That ends the previous cycle and begins the next. Right. Until I get to my destination and I'm getting out of my car.
Mm-hmm.
Or there's the continuation of that cycle of going to the store, getting my groceries, checking out. All of these are cycles within cycles.
Right.
And everything that happens as a result gets completed.
Right.
So one incompletion of that whole cycle might be that what I needed wasn't on the shelf. So I wasn't able to complete the cycle of getting the item that I went out to get So now what?
Right.
That complete, the in and of itself, it's complete. I have to be okay with not getting it at that store. That
Right.
cycle is done.
Right.
But then a new cycle can begin where I know where the item is and I go out and get it again someplace else.
Right.
So that's just some mundane
Mhm.
examples of what a cycle could look like.
Right. Right. Got it. Got it. Got it. So when you talk about incomplete cycles of action, so like in this example you gave, you went to the store, using the example, you went to the store, they didn't have what you wanted. And you left the store and said, well, it's complete because you completed your trip, but you didn't get the thing you wanted. So it wasn't a successful trip, say. So what do you declare as an incomplete? Is it incomplete in that you didn't?
Yes, that's a really good question. How do we declare something complete?
Right.
It's actually a decision that we make.
Got it.
You know,
It's a choice.
I'm complete with this part of the cycle.
Right.
And the new cycle is I need to go out and get that item. And that is not complete until I have it in my hands.
Right.
But all the processes coming up to that point can be completed. But once I get that item, I'm complete. It's done. I don't have to think about it anymore.
Right.
It's just to put it very clearly and very plainly, when we are satisfied that we've done all that we can
Right.
to end something, or when we arrive at an ending that we know we've gotten the item, it's done. We don't have to think about it anymore.
Right.
So we put a period at the end of it and it's done. We don't have to think about it anymore.
Right.
That is the completion of a cycle.
Right. So say you went to the store B and again, they did not have the item. At that point, you could determine it. Well, it's complete. I don't need that item. I'll find another way of solving my needs. Yeah. Okay. So just declare it complete because, maybe the product is discontinued or you just got tired of shopping and it's like, okay, I'm complete.
That's right. Exactly.
Right. Right. So how does recognizing cycles of action or incomplete cycles of action and completing them affected you? How have you come upon this in your life? Because I know you're very passionate about it, so I'm excited to hear how it came about for you.
Yeah, I was one of these people that didn't like to end things.
Mm-hmm.
And when I didn't end things, I had to really take a hard look at what is the nature of not wanting to end things. A lot of people leave things open-ended.
Right, right.
And there's a psychological effect that has on us. It did on me. I felt like I was a failure. I felt like I didn't have follow through. I felt like I couldn't get things done that I wanted to get done. I would say I wanted to get them done. I would say I wanted to do this, that, or the other thing, but it wasn't getting done.
Right.
So I really had to
check the box. We can't check the box on it.
Right. But at a deeper psychological level,
right.
I had to pay attention to what was the nature of not wanting to complete something.
Right.
And I discovered that, number one, I had to take responsibility for what I did.
Mm-hmm.
I had to own it.
Right.
Take responsibility for it, own it. But also there was a success fail component to it. I didn't want to fail at something.
Right.
So if I don't start or end something, then there's no failure. But that's not really true.
Right.
Because I'm failing to complete something.
Right, right, right.
I'm leaving all of these things open-ended, and they're weighing on my mind. They're still heavy in my mind, a conversation is ruminating about getting it done. Why can't I get it done? I wish I could get it done.
Right.
I'm such a bad person because I can't get it done. What's wrong with me? All
Right.
of these things are ruminating around the incomplete cycles of action.
Right. Right.
And so when I began to take a look at that and I began to really complete things or even think about starting them,
Mm-hmm.
do I really want to start this? Sometimes we start
Right.
things when we really don't have our full heart and mind in it, right?
Right. Right.
We just knee-jerk reaction to something, we say yes, when
Right.
we really probably should have taken a pause and thought about what it really meant to
Right.
say yes.
Yeah.
And so when I began to really look at this and pay attention to it, it
Mm-hmm.
changed everything. My focus became more directed,
Right.
and I felt better about getting things done. I felt accomplished.
Mm-hmm.
I no longer felt like I was a bad person or that I was doing something wrong or not doing anything right.
Mm-hmm.
And I felt happier. My mind was also clearer.
Right. So is it the idea of giving yourself permission to just like to be detached from the outcome? Is that the angle? Like,
I would not say detached because then you've got the other side of the set of attached. So
right.
there's attached, detached. You can't
Right.
have one without the other.
Okay.
It's really more about feeling complete about whatever you're doing, whoever you're talking to,
Mm-hmm.
because there's a component of completing cycles of action with regards to the conversations that we have with others. How
Okay.
complete do we feel after having ended a conversation with someone? Do we feel complete about it? Or are we still ruminating about the what ifs? I should have said this, I could have said that.
Right.
What if I had said this or not said that? All these things that we tend to go over the conversation in our mind after we've left someone.
So using that example that you gave then, so, say prior to your work with this, you would turn the conversation around in your mind. I should have said, woulda, shoulda, coulda, whatever. So since doing this work at the end of a conversation or during the conversation, how do you process it so that you're more at peace or, you feel complete? What's the difference now?
Yeah, great question. The intention to be understood is critical.
Okay.
And the intention to understand another is critical. So when we intend to be understood, that we are as clear as we possibly can be
Mm-hmm.
in the tone that we want to deliver something.
Right.
So sometimes, we can't be responsible for how another person receives what we say or what we do.
Right.
But we can be responsible for how we deliver it and what we say.
Right. How we react. Yeah.
And so when we are totally clear about that, and we are totally intentional about that, and we've done the best we know we can,
Right.
then we can put a period at the end of it for ourselves.
Right.
And another has that same responsibility.
Mm-hmm.
If they're not clear about something, if they think that they might have misunderstood something, then it's their responsibility to come back and say, you know what, I really wasn't clear about that, or I didn't understand, or maybe I think I might have misinterpreted something and I'd like to, clear it up or clarify.
Right. Right.
Each person, every single one of us has that responsibility.
Yeah. It's interesting. I just was thinking about, what we're talking about now. And in light of our current ways of communicating, particularly, and I'll say the younger generation, which prefers only to text or click like and share and something like that. I believe, or anyone, doesn't have to be younger folks. It can be any age really, but they prefer to only text or, communicate through some type of platform. I believe there's a lot more opportunity for that type of incompletion. Like, well, what did they mean by that text? And so you can take it the wrong way because there's no intonation. Like with our speaking, we can tell the intonation of a statement. When you hear something, where they're stressing certain things or what their attitude is. In a 2D communication, like a text message, it's like, what did they mean by that?
So true.
And so there's more opportunity for incompletions.
Mm-hmm. Misinterpretation. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. So.
I had that happen to me not too long ago, as a matter of fact.
Mm-hmm.
There was a text exchange, and the person, sometimes our words come across harsher than we actually mean them.
Right.
And like you said, the intonation wasn't expressed fully.
Right.
Just based on the words that were there.
Yeah.
And so that had to be cleaned up.
Right.
But the quicker we can do that, the better we feel.
Mm-hmm.
And so does everybody else.
Right. Right. Absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah. Wow. So you have a website, carolpilkington.com. So, and I'll spell that for our listeners. It's Carol, just Carol, Pilkington, PILKINGTON.com. But I'll also have this in the show notes. And you have a free gift for folks. You want to tell us what the free gift is?
Yeah, it's called soulfilledlivingquiz.com, and I'll put it in the notes here so you can. I don't know if you have it or not.
Yeah, no, I have it on your
okay.
Here, so I can make sure it's in the show.
And basically, it's a 4-minute self-assessment
mm-hmm.
About where one is on their journey, on their mm-hmm. path, and they get instant results in their inbox, right. So that they can see, where they feel they need a little bit more attention,
mm-hmm.
and where they're doing well.
Mm-hmm. So
I love these kinds of things.
Detect imbalances in
the
moment. Nice. Very cool. Very cool. Excellent. Excellent. Awesome. So if you were, if you had someone in front of you asking about, the cycles of inaction, and are there certain ways that you go about questioning somebody to help them identify it? Like maybe they're just like lost and say, well, I'm not sure what you mean. I don't know where there's cycles of inaction in my life. What would you say to them?
It's really mostly about listening to how they're presenting their challenges in life.
Okay.
And, they could be having relationship issues, or they could feel overwhelmed or procrastinate on things. They might seem never to be able to make decisions.
Mm-hmm.
They're afraid of the yes/no question. I don't want to say no because I don't want to miss out on anything.
Right.
Yeah, the fear of missing out, or the fear of being excluded. If they say no, they won't be asked again. All of these kinds of things that come up that people are afraid of. They're generally fears.
Right. Right. Fears of making the quote unquote wrong decision about something.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And so they don't make a decision at all.
Right. And that's a decision too.
That's right. And putting things off, even our day-to-day chores,
mm-hmm.
when we don't complete something, if we make a meal and we leave the dishes in the sink for days on end, that's an incomplete cycle of action in our daily life.
Yeah.
That we don't even recognize. We know they're there and we know we have to do the dishes.
Right.
We're not going to magically get clean and pop up into the cabinets.
Right.
And so that weighs on a person's mind, and any kind of clutter, piles of paper on a person's desk that they know they have to get through. Or planning one's retirement, planning your end of life needs. When we don't take care of those kinds of things, anything that weighs on our mind that we're constantly thinking about all the time, or
Right.
that we know that's in the back of our mind that we're thinking, that those are all incomplete cycles of action.
Right. And that impacts your daily ability to get things done, because it's like walking around with a big sack of incompletions on your back.
That's right. And
I do everything except I got this big bag of incompletions on my back here.
yeah, right. And the multitude of to-do lists,
Right. Yeah.
And there are ways to cut down on the lists and to be present in the moment, to be able to meet anything that arises.
Right.
And so I work
Well,
with people
I
to
know.
understand that.
I'm sorry. I didn't.
No, that's okay.
One of the things I know for myself is I have decided at certain points, and our listeners might hear this too, is that at some point one can be realizing, well, I'm taking this on because I believe other people think I should be completing XYZ, where I'm really okay with XYZ the way it is. And as long as it's not denial, and it's really like, that's not a priority, and this is. So I declare that complete, and maybe come up with an alternative plan for whatever that thing is. And I am going in this direction. So that's also an option, right?
Absolutely. When you can declare something done for you,
Right.
that's all that matters.
Yeah. So it may not
space.
Right. And it's not an obvious, like someone can look at something and say, well, that's not done. But if it's yours and you have declared it complete, say, no, it's done state. That's what it looks like when it's done in my world.
That's right. And that's all that matters, right?
Yes. I took watercolor lessons years ago. It was a wonderful opportunity. And there was so many different bits of philosophy that would come out in the classes from the instructor, from other students, of awarenesses. But one of the things they said, when you're painting a picture, there's no, like you talk about a beginning and an end to something. Well, there's no specific end. I mean, you could keep, darken this color and add that and add more things and everything. And so one of the things that we laughed about was that it takes two people to paint a painting. One to paint it and the other person to yell, stop. It's already good. Don't do any more. Because you could overpaint it and then it's ruined,
Right. Yeah.
So, yeah.
It's all about how we feel about something inside of us.
Right.
We get to declare it.
Yeah. Yep.
The conflict is always within us. It's not out there.
Right. Right. Absolutely. And I'm sure our listeners are enjoying this, because many of us struggle with, getting things done, the procrastination, not procrastinate. Is it procrastination, or have I declared it complete? All those different things, and trying to live up to our own standards, as well as what we perceive to be standards of our loved ones may have on us. And it's a journey. So this
is. It really is.
Conversation. So your website again, for listeners, is carolpilkington.com, and their free gift, they should go to soulfilledlivingquiz.com, and everything will be in the show notes in case they haven't written it down. So awesome. This is
May I share one more thing?
Oh,
I don't know if you're interested, if that's possible or not. You can also cut this out if you need to. Is the webinar that I'm going to be having on completing cycles of action.
Okay.
It's the introduction to completing cycles of action that's happening on January 25th.
Okay. Awesome. Great. And how will they find out about that if they go to your website? Is it going to be?
No, I have a separate link for that.
Okay, what is that link?
Let me put it in the chat.
Okay. And I will add it to the show notes for anyone
Great.
listening.
Thank you.
Oh, okay. That's an easy one, but I'll click on it, so I'll have it. Awesome. Very good. So it's bit.ly, a bit.ly link. So it's bit.ly/intro to completing cycles of action. All right, cool.
Yeah.
Very cool.
Thank you.
And then again, the free gift is at soulfilledlivingquiz.com. Awesome. Thank you so much. This has been great. It's been a long time in coming and we made it happen.
Yay. I enjoyed it always. I always enjoyed talking to you.
Yes, me too. Where's let me just find how come I can't find the recording button? This is interesting. Okay, oh, there it is. There it is. Stop right there. Okay. There we go. Stop recording. Bye, everyone. Thank you for listening. This is Alexandra with Live Well Long. Be sure to hit subscribe so you don't miss any of our important episodes. We want to be sure that you get everything you can to do your best to live well long. Feel free to reach out to me at alex@avhcoaching.com. And remember to take good care of yourself so that you live well long. Talk with you soon. Bye.
Hey, psst, it's Alexandra. One more thing. Would you please share this on Facebook, Twitter, send an email to your friends? Just hit the share link and pick a way to share it. I would love it. Thank you so much. Bye.